Hey guys, here we got an AC compressor from a 96 Dodge Ram. We're going to be tearing into this guy, but before we do, quick preliminary speech. First of all, I was running this guy as an air compressor, not an AC compressor, so he's full of grease. That wouldn't be normal, obviously. And I've already been in this guy before, so a lot of the bolts aren't even tight, and the snap rings obviously are not corroded in. So it'll be a little easier for me because I've already been in it, but it's all the same. So let's get started. First of all, this guy here. Really no need to take him out, but with him out, you can set up on end and it's easier that way. That is a 5/8 inch socket. There's obviously this nut here that goes on top. That is a 9/16. Now we just gotta pull this clutch disc off. Typically that can be a little bit of a trigger. So what you do is just grab yourself a plate, drill 3 holes, and bolt it on. Grab 3 bolts that fit the thread pitch, bolt it on, and you clamp it down. You're clamping it down onto the shaft there, so it pulls the guy up. I already have this guy loosened, so I can get underneath it with some screwdrivers and pry it up like so. You do not want to use a gear puller to pull this off because this friction plate is very soft steel, and so you end up bending it all up. If you do have a replacement for it, then you may be able to give it a shot. Now we just remove the snap ring in there that holds the pulley on. There he goes. Now we use the a cage 3-jaw gear puller, and we're going to pull off the pulley. Pulley comes off, put him to the side. There's a little woodruff key in the side of the shaft there. Just pull it out so it doesn't fall later and end up losing it. Just a couple taps with a hammer, like so. There he is. Okay, now we got to remove the magnetic coil. To do that, we've got to first disconnect the electrical plug-in back here. There's a little screw that holds a little tab down that holds the wire in place. So disconnect that. Another snap ring. There's a snap ring down there. Got him. There he is. Now the magnetic coil just comes right off. Sometimes it takes a little bop with a hammer. There he goes. Just as a future reference, there's a little tab down here that centers it right there. So it only goes on one way, so you don't need to mark it or anything. Just make sure you get it right. Okay, now there's this plate here. This guy is actually fully symmetrical. He'll go on 4 ways. However, you only want to go in one way. There's an oiling port in there that channels oil in, so you want to make sure that's facing up. You can see it. That marks the oiling port there. You can see that there's the top. This is the top, so the oiling port faces towards the top passenger side. But it doesn't hurt to mark it with a tool here just to make sure it goes together the same way. Here we go. Then of course we just got a couple bolts. These are 10mm. You're gonna want to leave one on either side because it's spring-loaded tension, otherwise it'll cockeye. Now you just work those 2 out evenly. There we go. Okay, now you can just pull this plate off and the whole shaft assembly comes with it. Like so, and there you got it. Now like I say, it's full of grease because I'm using it as an air compressor. You got this O-ring here. He sits in a groove down there. We'll put him to the side though. For right now, let's just take this guy and put him off to the side while we try to disassemble this guy. Really simple. First of all, there's a washer stuck on here. He's stuck on there pretty good because of the grease. Just take a screwdriver here and just pry him up. There we go. Now you can see that there's the tabs on the inside of this thrust washer. They sit with the tabs on there. So make sure when you install it, you put it back like that. There you go. Now you just put this guy on. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain, like if the bearing blew up in there like it did on this one. It was a little stiff to push out, but it's not bad. There you go. Shaft just separates. Now you've got the bearing here, and you've also got a thrust washer underneath it as well. So, and you've got a thrust washer over here as well. So this thrust washer on either side of the bearing. We can put that guy to the side. He is as full as about as part as he's going to get. Okay, now there's the bearing there. In order to get him out, we've got to first pull the seals out of this side. Let me clean off my hands a little. Okay, now what you've got is you've got two sets of seals, and then you got the bearing down there. So first of all, it's like this cloth lint seal just to help keep junk away. He just pops right out. There's no snap ring or anything holding him on. There you can see it. He goes with the metal side up, in case anybody didn't notice. Now we got a snap ring in there. We're going to use our snap ring pliers to remove him. There he goes. Now you've got a seal in there. He isn't in there too tight, so you can just grab a flat screwdriver, go on one side, go on the other side. There he goes. You can see there's a little lip in there you can get a screwdriver in to pry up on. So there you got it. Now what we'll do is we'll go to the shop press and we will press that bearing out. Okay, here we got the bearing plate. We're going to use a 16mm 1/2-inch drive deep socket to press the bearing out. There's a bit of a lip there that we have to go inside of and then be able to hit on the bearing. So the size here is pretty crucial. We're just going to push it down like so. There's no snap rings or anything to remove. So here we go. There's bearing. Okay, here we got the bearing and the front cover. So that's about as far as it's going to get. Back to the guts. From here, we're just going to get those bearings off there so they don't fall off. When we flip it around, there's the pancake bearing, and then we got the thrust washer down here still, I believe. There we go. Again, he's got a lip on him. Kind of see that he goes up. Pretty hard to get him backwards. Okay, now to remove the piston assembly, we're going to first remove the head here, but before we go any further, we need to mark the piston floater plate here. Mark the rotation of it, because there's 7 pistons, but it will only go in one way, and finding out which way it goes in after having taken it out is very involved. There's a little tab on the floater plate located there. You can see it. That is located, let me see, here. This is the top here, and this is the bottom, and he would be looking like this. So the tab is located on the bottom, but towards the driver's side with this guy installed. So that is how it is on this guy. They may not all be the same, but yeah, you're going to want to mark this. Now for taking out the bolts. Okay, so when you take this off, you're going to want to be careful here. There's a couple pry notches. Oh, see, that's why we mark the orientation of those, so we can know which way they go back in. So let's put that to the side. We'll get back to them later. Okay, so there's a couple pry notches here on the side that we're going to use to pry up on this assembly. So we just get our guy in there like that, break them loose. There you have it. There's your valve setup. Okay, now you just break these apart like so, and then there's your group of parts. You can see the grease just kind of got everywhere. Okay, here we got the guts. The piston assembly fell out while we were taking off the head, but yeah, he just pulls right out, no problem. Then we got this guy. He just comes straight up. There's this ball here. He's not attached to anything, though he can suction cup down there sometimes and be pretty hard to come out. And then you can see there's a keyway there, and there's a key down there, as well as a spring. That's a pretty stout dude. There we go. There's a spring. He goes in here. And we got the little keyway down there. Everything's goopy. And there's your keyway. And there you have it. It's an empty housing. Okay, now when you're putting this guy back together, it's all really simple. Just put everything back in the orientation you had it out. And you can see that this guy here has 2 pins in there that go in, and you can see the pins here, there, and there as they go in. Now you can see that these holes here are the mounting holes, and these holes here are your valving holes. So both pins are on our left side of the mounting holes. And this guy, so we have to turn this guy over like that, and he just goes right on. You can also see the you can't get this guy upside down because he's got those valving systems there, but you can see where the pistons go there. So you want to make sure the valve guys there are on the head. So putting them in like so, like that. And on this guy, when you go to put him back in, he's pretty simple. What you're going to want to do is, first of all, remember the orientation you had, put everything back like it was. Okay, and then you're going to want to put all these guys and point them straight as possible. Okay, once you get them straight, you're going to want to put them into the housing. Okay, I don't remember the orientation, so I'm not going to try for that. What you'll do is you're just going to push down on there, and you're going to poke through this side here and push them all straight. Make sure they're all going in straight. You kind of see what we're doing, how those are getting there straight, but those are still cockeyed. So we're just going to go around, and it takes a minute or so to get them all right. You have to go around a couple times. Nothing, no big deal. You can see we still got that goopy stuff in there when it was an air compressor. Anyway, so you just keep going around until you get it. And go there until you get there. Obviously, you'd want to make sure you got that guy installed first. So there you have it. Just kind of keep going. You'll eventually get it. Yeah, that guy's getting there. Some of these already start going. There you are. They're all in. Like I said, you want to make sure you have that guy in there. And so then you just put the head on, which again, you got your 2 pins, and they're on the left of the mounting holes. And so we'd want to go like so. There we go, like so. So then you put your mounting bolts in there. And then from the top, you just throw in your bearings, or first your thrust washers, your bearings, and then the shaft, and you put the bearings back on top of it, and then you put the cover on, bolt it down, make sure it's the right orientation, and then put your clutch stuff on, and you're back in business. Obviously, you'd want to replace whatever part that you came in here to replace. So there you have it, AC compressor all the way apart, or in our case an air compressor. So you can install seals, bearings, or perform any wizardry you had in mind. In my case, I'm going to be replacing the bearing here, which, because I was running grease, no oil or grease made it into this bearing, which didn't treat it so well, so it got fried. Luckily everything else is in top shape, so we will be performing some modifications to this guy to be able to run him, grease him in him again, but make it so we have a way of greasing the front bearing. So that'll be for the next AC compressor video.